There are a ton of songs, particularly from this era, that were more political and were more oriented towards the actual historical events that were going on at the time, and that made more of a statement. So at this time, there became even more of a focus on the content of the song in terms of the lyrics and what the message of the song was. So let's take a quick look at some of those songs from the era that really spoke more with a message.
Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Every time we stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around your head grow.
There you go. So, there's actually some of my personal favorite examples of music from the era included in there, with more of a political message, more of a focus on the lyrics and what the song was actually communicating. I want to bring it back quickly, talk about it, this concept in relation to where we are today. Where we are today, we're just coming off the end of two wars, one in Iraq, one in Afghanistan. And I want to ask you guys how you've seen, or if you have seen at all, this sort of theme of music being used as a vehicle of political message and a vehicle of political expression. Have you seen that in context of today in the way that it was present in the 60s and 70s?
Definitely not. I mean, I feel like the era of activism music is pretty much over. And also when artists will pick sides and go with one political view, I think that a lot of their fans will lose respect for them. So they tend not to delve into the politics anymore. And now I feel like the message of, today's pop songs is all, party, 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 but very little of the political activism, for better or worse.
And I think, like Foster said, I don't think we see as much of that. And I think another reason that is because, during Vietnam we had things like the draft going on. So it was affecting everyone. Every single household was, if they had a boy over the age of 18 was fearing that outcome. So they were all really paying attention to it. And I think a lot of times nowadays, those of us who aren't individually affected by it sometimes forget about it on a day-to-day basis, and therefore our music doesn't necessarily reflect that because it's not something that we're constantly thinking about, and that's why it's not in the music.
It's definitely in the interest of companies like record labels to keep us more separated from those things so that we can be more interested in what they have going on, be more willing to get into what they're doing.
Foster, I think it's interesting what you just brought up, because I tend to agree with you that I believe that a lot of the music today, as far as the lyrics go, you could take the lyrics from a lot of songs and put them to the tune of another song, and you wouldn't notice much of a difference because there's such a kind of like a commonwealth that these songs are drawn from. Whereas during this era, 60s and 70s, these songs had more of a message, and there was more of a focus on the content of the lyrics of the songs. So I'll ask you guys which you personally prefer. Do you prefer music that has a focus on the content of the lyrics and that has a message and something that it's trying to communicate about the world that exists, or do you prefer music that is just more fun to listen to and not necessarily has to come along with a moral or political stance?
I think that personally, I like a little bit of both. Sometimes when I'm in a mood where I'm like reflecting upon things, it's nice to have music where the lyrics are meaningful. But then again, when I'm just like hanging out with my friends and stuff and we have background music, I don't need, the background music preaching peace or something in the background. It's just whatever's going on. So sometimes meaningful lyrics are more important, and sometimes just music.
Yeah, Claire has a fantastic point. And I mean, I think it depends on the moment, And I couldn't choose at all. I mean, all of them are great, It just depends on the individual song. But yeah, it was a great point because it's all about what the moment is. Because, there's certain things like, at a graduation, maybe it could be more about a peace song. But when you're partying with your friends, maybe not.
All right, fair enough. Foster, do you have something?
I was just gonna say I could care less about what the actual lyrics are because I use music as a tool to help me be relaxed and happy. So it's really, for me, it's about the feeling that the song conveys to me, and how catchy it is and how nice it is to listen to. And I could give a crap about the lyrics.
The content's less important to you, Foster?
Absolutely.
But don't you think sometimes content affects how you feel about a song?
I mean, possibly. I mean, it may, but I don't change myself due to the music. Like, I own the music and I listen to the music when I want, but I don't really let the content rub off on me unless I want to,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.